All right, we're gonna do one more video for today. Don't eat the cheese. Tight ends. This one shouldn't take too long. Tight end wise, we know the deal. Get Travis Kelce. I said it last year. I'll say it again this year. Just get Travis Kelce. Just do everything in your power to get Travis Kelce. If you're in an auction league, pay the money. Just pay the money because it's such a black hole position that if you don't have Travis Kelce, you're going to be losing points. If you somehow lose out, there are tight end gambles that I like, but just go get Travis Kelce, man. Just pay the extra money and go get Travis Kelce. I have him on my team for $35. If you have to spend 50, go spend 50. Just get Travis Kelce in your team, and then you don't have to worry about this. But there are still some highly ranked tight ends that I want no part of outside of that conversation. So let's get through it. It shouldn't take too long. 4 guys that I specifically want to talk about. Let's talk about it. Cole Kmet is fucking terrible. If you haven't figured that out by now, I don't know what to tell you. He's got some of the worst tight end metrics of all time. He's fucking horrible. And not only that, if there are metrics on Cole Kmet, you just don't want them. Now they've added Robert Tonyan. You don't think that's going to affect his output? I now have another tight end I have to worry about. I also have another guy, DJ Moore, that's going to eat up targets. And I already went over this. The Bears throw the ball fewer times than anybody in the fucking league. So I have a dog shit of a talent, Cole Kmet. He's not talented. He has no talent. He never should have been taken in the second round. All of these tight ends from Notre Dame that you try to tell me that are so great, they're all terrible. The best one is Kyle Rudolph. And has Kyle Rudolph ever won anybody a fantasy league? Don't ask me why Cole Kmet is ranked high in fantasy. He fucking sucks. Now they added Robert Tonyan, and he plays for an offense that throws the ball fewer than anybody in the league. Moving on. Dalton Schultz. Now, Dalton Schultz is a player that I think is okay. I think he has some talent, but do you really trust being in Houston? Because I don't. Last year, 577 yards, 5 touchdowns, over 15 games. That was good enough to help nobody. I now put that guy in Houston. And the year before, Dalton Schultz helped you. 808 yards, 8 touchdowns. That's not awful. Here's the problem. Let's go to this too, because in Dallas, they had other tight ends, but Schultz was the top guy. In Houston, I still think they kind of believe in Brevin Jordan. Maybe that's a factor, maybe it's not. Even if it's not a factor, these Ohio State quarterbacks, I like CJ Stroud. I think he has a chance to be good. But as we talked about with the Bears, Justin Fields, where were his passing attempts? Dwayne Haskins, where were his passing attempts? I mean, all of these Ohio State quarterbacks have struggled in year one. I have a hard time believing that Dalton Schultz is going to get any more than he did last year with the Cowboys. I think 500 yards and 5 touchdowns sounds about right, which is enough to help nobody. Kyle Pitts. Let's talk about Kyle Pitts. I'm a Kyle Pitts believer. I had him ranked very, very high in the draft. This has nothing to do with talent. We know that fantasy football has everything to do with volume and opportunity. If those two things are on your side, you don't even have to really be that good of a player to pan out in fantasy. Lamar Jackson's the perfect example. He's just a piece of shit, but he can run, so he has fantasy value. Real life talent and fantasy talent are two very, very different things. I love the real life talent of Kyle Pitts. I don't like the fucking fantasy outputs that he puts out. And until this shit changes, I'm not buying in. What reason is there to buy in? His quarterback is Desmond Ridder, who stinks, can't really throw the ball. His quarterback last year was Marcus Mariota, who stinks and can't throw the ball. Ridder should be the quarterback all year, and I don't like that. I don't like Ridder being your quarterback. Last year, through 10 games, 28 catches, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's awful. That's awful. And the year before, he was really good, right? As a rookie, he put up numbers. But I think this is the most important part that matters. Arthur Smith is still the coach. And last year, this is the same fucking guy. It's not fantasy football. We're just trying to win. He doesn't get it. He wants to use Kyle Pitts as a decoy. He thinks his best chance to win is by using Kyle Pitts as a decoy. And their offense hasn't really changed. outside of Bijan Robinson, which really doesn't affect their passing attack. Drake London still there. Zacchaeus is even gone. Ridley's not back. Ridley's in Jacksonville. I don't really love when Kyle Pitts is a decoy. Go triple team him. We're throwing the ball to other people. And like the Bears, they were 31st in pass attempts. I have a hard time believing that you're going to get anything different than this. Now, maybe the touchdown numbers can go up, and that's touchdown variance. It's a real thing. You never really truly know, but I think you'll be looking at more of the same. And until that happens, I'm just not going to rank Pitts high. Until they get rid of Arthur Smith, or, hey, listen, if Pitts were to be traded and he gets dealt to Cincinnati or he goes to somewhere that they're going to value him, I'll rank Pitts high. I'll rank Pitts high, no problem. Ridder is your quarterback. We're going to get more of this, and I don't like it. So I don't see any reason to rank him. Well, he's going to get ranked, but I'm not spending an arm and a leg to go get Kyle Pitts until that changes. Last but not least, Mark Andrews. There's something different going on in Baltimore, right? We have to pay attention to it. Mark Andrews, this 1361 season, not sure you're getting it again. Now, he might put up some touchdowns. We never know. Last year at 5, maybe that number can go up, and I'm sure it can. But the target number will probably be a lot closer to this than this. And if you go to the fantasy rankings, right, if you want Mark Andrews, you got to spend Kelce money. I'm not willing to spend Kelce money on Mark Andrews. I'd rather just go get Kelce. That number is probably going to be that. Again, back in these days, they had a 3 tight end set with Hayden Hurst and all those other tight ends. Now you got Isaiah Likely, who is better than all those other, like Nick Boyle. Isaiah Likely is better than all those other backup tight ends that the Ravens had. He'll probably get more targets. Odell Beckham is in town. We know he loves to bitch about targets. They just drafted Zay Flowers in the first round. He'll get targets. Rashad Bateman, maybe he's healthy. I mean, he's never been healthy, but let's say he's healthy. That's more targets. I think that number is what matters when it comes to Mark Andrews. Will he get 150 targets? The answer is probably no. Therefore, I'm not willing to spend this kind of resources on him. I'd rather have Kittle. And if you go, let's just use Kittle as an example. Another team likes to run the ball, right? Where's his target at? 86. That's low, right? That's low, but he had 11 touchdowns. That made up for it. I'd rather have Kittle. Well, Kittle at a discount. Kittle at a discount compared to this. I wouldn't be surprised if his target number is this. Now, hopefully it's in this range. I don't think this is possible. But with all the additions that they made, it could be like this. And if that happens, he has to score touchdowns. And if he scores touchdowns at the rate he did last year, you're really fucked. That's the tight end list. It sucks trying to find a tight end. I get it. But you're almost, if you don't get Kelce, you're almost better off hoping and praying that Taysom Hill fucking does something that week. Right? Because that weird shit is probably more valuable than spending all these resources on Mark Andrews, and then Mark Andrews underperforms, and now you're really screwed. So those are the tight ends, short and sweet. Just go get Kelce. That would be my advice. Just go get Kelce. If you're an auction league, spend the money. He's worth it. So, yeah, that's your tight ends. Let me know what you think. Peace out, Girl Scout.